What's happening, YouTube? Your boy J-Indy Jones, Mr. J-Indy Intellect. I'm back. Last night was horrible. This video that y'all got coming right now, I shot this mug twice yesterday and it didn't go through. So, y'all gonna get it in full effect today. So, I'm gonna shorten it up a little bit. So, today gonna be part one. Why President Donald Trump will win the 2020 re-election. And this not going to be so much about Donald Trump on this part one. I'm going to bring him up, but I'm going to get deeper into it with Donald Trump the further in the series that we get. But starting with this one, what we want to talk about first is the letter that Pope Francis sends to Obama back on the 4th of July in 2014. I could have sworn it was probably the 14th of July, but or it was the 14th of July 2014, I believe, when the Pope and Obama was together. But he sent the letter first, and you can find this on the promiserevealed.com. and there's other websites that have it, but I'm yet to find this on YouTube. Anybody talking about it, I'm not too sure. But if anybody that's actually showing the documents or writing out the documents, like I can kind of, I'm only bunking off of two phones, but I can kind of show you what I'm going to be reading. Like, we about to get all that. I'm going to get into it right now, though. So Pope Francis, and then, I'm going to talk about it kind of as I read so you can understand if you don't understand or understand. But overall, I would like for you to research it yourself, because I'm going to leave the search. I'm going to leave the title and how you can find it in the description so you can pull it up yourself, and then you can read it, and then you can interpret it the best way you can, and so forth. So let's get started. It says, issued to all members of the domestic police forces, U.S. Marshals, that's MARSHALS, not a double L, service, the Provost Marshal, and members of the American Bar Association and the American Armed Services. These organic American states of the Union, known as the United States of America, major, in parentheses, exercising plenary, I'm already messing up, excuse me, plenary civil power upon the land, hereby appoint General Carter F. Ham to lead and command the Grand Army of the Republic, the GAR. So I'm just going to say GAR from now on. I'm not going to sit here and be repetitive and read the Grand Army of the Republic. But you should know who the Republic is. If not, you will. So, once again, General Carter F. Ham to lead and command the GAR and its successors under the guidance of the Joint Chiefs of Staff with their full support. Should it become necessary to suppress commercial mercenary forces operating under the guise of being federal government agencies, including, but not limited to, the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, the Internal Revenue Service, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, etc., General Ham shall assume immediate command and control of all armed forces and services owed to the United States of America major, stationed in North America, and shall join them under his command as the GAR. All forces of air, land, and sea are to be employed. Quick summary. So all forces of air, land, and sea must be employed, meaning it's going to go further and tell you that the GAR, which is basically the citizens, and when you want to talk about we the people, us, we the citizens, we are entitled to be employed on all air, land, and sea. We are entitled to be employed, not employed, not unemployed, to be employed. And General Ham is what you will want to actually call our current president. So, moving on, it says, any cost or loss suffered as a result of deployment of the GAR shall be charged as stipulated prior. All efforts shall be made by the GAR to spare life and property while undertaking any action whatsoever within the states of the Union without exception. The GAR is uniquely enabled by these orders to operate on the land of the 50 organic states for the purposes of securing the lives and property of the American states and the American state citizens. The GAR is not a foreign army and is composed primarily of American state citizens. If required to take field position, the local commanders shall make every effort to communicate the basis of their authority and the reasons for their presence on American state soil to ensure a prompt cessation of hostilities and a widespread of understanding of the I messed up on this last night too, man. These words be tricky. Usurpations and acts of fraud which have led to any conflict. All parties must be brought to understand the nature of the federal government, the limitations of its authority, and their own obligation to act in favor of the organic state of the Union. The GAR shall continue to operate under General Order 100, known as the Lieber Code, extant from the pen of the last Republic President, Abraham Lincoln. So the last president of the GAR, or the Republic, was Abraham Lincoln. Since then, we haven't had no Republic. It was dormant. It was gone. We started this whole Democrat Republic, independent United States corporation after the Civil War, which ended the time of the Republic. And that was the time where you basically had slaves. But I'm going to get more into that. But Abraham Lincoln was the last president under the Republic, or the GAR, and currently now we have General F. Helm that's in charge. So now it goes on to say, no orders, executive or otherwise, issued by Barack H. Obama pretending authority on the land of American states while operating as president of the United States Corporation, nor as the president of the United States of America minor, in parentheses, are owed any performance by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Helm, or any ordinary. All plainly stated grants of contractual authority evident in the Constitution for the United States of America remain in place, subject to good faith performance of the accompanying obligations and treaties. Mr. Obama is the president of the Governmental Services Corporation under contract to provide stipulated services to the organic states and is on their payroll. He otherwise acts, I'm going to say that again, he otherwise acts as a foreign dignitary representing the United States of America minor. In neither of these capacities is he allowed any granted authority to impose upon American state citizens, endanger American state property, or command mercenary forces on American state soil. However veiled as federal civilian service agencies, we require staff and General Helm to commence measures to disarm federal civilian agency personnel and to seize control of the vast stockpiles of arms which have been improperly amassed by the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, and other agencies employed by the United States. The only federal agency allowed free egress on the land of the American states in the U.S. Marshals Service, and then only when their personnel are engaged in their duty to protect the U.S. mail and sworn to act as constitutional officers. All other federal agency personnel are limited to unarmed services until further notice. So basically what the Pope said, General Helm has to go Obama to tell the government, the Secret Service, the CIA, the FBI, the police force, the security forces, anybody who's holding a gun besides the U.S. Marshals, not the Marshals, the Marshals are the only ones who can be armed And they are only protecting U.S. mail, which means the only people that need to be carrying a gun in a uniform is the people who's protecting the mail. Anybody else needs to stand down and disarm themselves. So we shouldn't have police officers driving around right now. Period. They shouldn't be doing that. That's over with, according to what the Pope said. Let's keep going. We direct the Joint Chiefs of Staff to communicate these first two general civil orders directly to Mr. Obama, the members of the U.S. administrators of all federal agencies, the members of the Supreme Court, and those acting as governors to compel their rapid understanding and cooperation. Notice how they keep saying acting. They said the so-called puppet, aka President Obama at that time, was acting in office and also on their payroll. And now it's talking about acting governors, acting people in the Supreme Court, acting agencies, federal agencies, acting. We know acting as an actor or an actress, and they act on television, the magic box on which we watch every day. But so on, let's keep going. Any expense or damage incurred by these organic states or any American state citizens as a result of actions undertaken by any federal agency personnel acting as armed mercenaries on the American state soil will be understood as a result of violent crimes committed against the peaceful inhabitants of the land and will incur immediate judgment liquidating the assets of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the Federal Reserve in payment of the stipulated reparations. Such crimes shall also be considered contract default, increasing the public debt subject to bounty. Any and all corporate officers of the United States or any federal service contracts who support, condone, or promote such crimes against the American states or against American state citizens should be subject to arrest and prosecution for commercial and violent crimes. All foreign officials operating as elected or appointed officials of the United States of America minor who support, condone, or promote such crimes against or against the American state citizens shall be subject to arrest, confiscation of their assets, and deportation to Puerto Rico, Guam, or such other states as may be willing to receive them. Meaning they need to be cast out. You still up here taking people to jail for some old false stuff, you need to get cast out and sent to jail. Or sent to a different state or country. Such foreign officials include, and notice how they're saying foreign, so they actually calling our foreign. That's something to pay attention to. So such foreign officials include members of the American British Bar Association who were licensed to act as privateers against the interests of the American states and the American state citizens from 1845 to 2013 in flagrant breach of trust. See, they breach their trust, but you got to look, it says British Bar, the American and the British Bar Associations. So it's not just the British Bar Associations, it's also the American Bar Associations. They've been doing this since 1845 all the way up into 2000. That was a year before this letter was written. Mind you, it's 2019, 5 years later and 6 years later after that was over with. So all such licenses are now extinguished. Members of the bar associations are required to cease and desist assaults against the American states and the American state citizens and shall be subject to arrest, confiscation. Why did I say that wrong? Confiscation. It sounds like the words sound weird to me. My bad, y'all. It just sounds weird for some reason. And deportation otherwise. Let's go some more. In so much as United States of America Incorporated and the United States have contrived, under conditions of fraud and systematic deceit, to revenue the estates of the American states and the living American state citizens to the foreign jurisdiction of the United States of America minor, they are found guilty of capital crimes, including acts of fraud and treason committed between 1933 and 1945. Mind you, it say 1930, year of 1933, you did not have a birth certificate nor a social security card. So now stuff is getting spicy here. And I'm going to just go over that one more time. They said, citizens to the foreign jurisdiction of the United States of America minor, they are found guilty of capital crimes, including acting committed between 1933 and 1945. I'm running out of space. That's not good. I thought I just cleared my space. I might have to do this video again, and I don't like that. So I'm going to just make this video dealing with this. I'm going to clear some space, and then I'm going to go on again. That way I don't run out of data. In our condemned, in so much as elected officials operating in the United States of America minor have similarly committed war crimes against the American states in their peaceful and during the same time period, they stand condemned posthumously. No enforcement upon any American state or American state citizen is owed as a result of any act of any Congress operating as sovereign government of the, nor as the board of directors or board of trustees of any incorporated entity whatsoever. All those estates and estates erroneously believed to represent the American states and the Americans, and which were conveyed by fraud and legal deceit to the United States of America minor, and more recently to the city-state of buying tramadol 50 milligrams, are revenue without exception to the geographically defined American states and the American state citizens, where they shall remain in perpetuity as assets belonging to the rightful and lawful beneficiaries. All legal fiction are structured and named after the American state citizens are returned to them in their control, free and clear of any debt, promise, and encumbrance of obligations alleged against them as a result of false claims made in their behalf by officers of the United States of America, Inc., in the United States, Inc., or by any foreign officials operating the United States of America minor or the United Nations city-state, falsely claiming represent them of having jurisdiction over them. We note that the current circumstance is in part the result of criminal acts engaged in 150 years ago, which resulted in the commercial enslavement of African Americans who were summarily, that just sounds, as chattels backing U.S. government debt in the wake of the U.S. Civil War. Alright. Despite every act of abolition and declaration of prohibition, I'm sorry, I told y'all, man, look, my wife love English. She was probably better off reading that than me. But y'all just gonna have to take it. And like I said, y'all read it y'allself. I'm gonna put it in the link so y'all can read it y'allself. But don't give me, I want against both peonage and slavery. Policy of the U.S. government to enslave its citizens and to operate as a rogue state among the nations of the world. Instead of freeing African Americans, the sum total results of the Civil War was vastly expand public sector ownership of slaves, giving rise to the outrageous and improper claims that have been made against the American states and the American state citizens that we are dealing with today. That the Grand Army of the Republic is recalled to settle these circumstances in favor of the people. And that was it. So that was it. I don't trust this data, y'all. So what I want to do, see, that's 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is just label this part 1. And I'm going to continue starting with Donald Trump now. See, this basically summarizes what is going on, and us being the armed force for the Vatican, the Pope basically was just saying, I'm gonna do away with you Americans because y'all been on some rogue shit, gangster stuff, taking wars to people that y'all don't need to, taking shit from them that y'all don't need to take from them. You know what I mean? And as me being the Pope in the Vatican here, we got our own stuff cracking, and y'all over there being bogus. So I'ma tell y'all need to stop, and I want y'all to go back to what y'all originally used to be. But at the same time, I can't in and demand y'all and make y'all do this because we got our own problems over here, in which I will get into that later as well. So I'm gonna leave this in the description so y'all can look it up yourself, and I'll be right back with part 2 of Donald Trump being reelected for the 2020 election. And this was just to start off. I know I talked about Obama and I know I talked about the Pope, but it's gonna get juicy. And stay tuned. Check me out. Your boy J-Indy Jones, Mr. J-Indy Intellect. I'm back at it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, or hit the dislike button. You don't like it. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And stay tuned for some more, because this is some important information everybody needs to understand, because I know y'all going to come after me by talking about Donald Trump going to win the election, because y'all don't like Trump. So I'm here to tell y'all what Trump really stand for. Do I like Donald Trump? I think he funny. I always said that ever since he became president. I think he a funny dude. Fuck to me, really, to be honest. But on another note, I'll be right back to y'all. Peace, love, and abundance. Deuce.